He was the super cool singer of a huge rock band in the 1980s, totally wild and unstoppable. To his fans, Vince Neil wasn't just a guy on stage, he was like a tornado of fame. But one night in December 1984, his crazy lifestyle crashed hard into real life, leaving marks that never went away. Vince grew up in California and became famous as the lead singer of Motley Crue, a band all about living big, fast cars, wild parties, and no rules. By his early 20s, he was rocking sold-out shows, making tons of money, and acting like nothing could stop him. His vibe was all about energy and breaking rules, and everyone knew his life was intense, but nobody thought it would go that far. On December 8, 1984, Vince was chilling at his house in Redondo Beach when his buddy Nicholas Razzle Dingley came over. Razzle was the drummer for a band called Hanoi Rocks, in town for concerts and recording. They were already drinking when they decided to hop in Vince's red 1972 De Tomaso Pantera and head to a liquor store. Even though Vince had been drinking for hours, he drove. The streets were small and quiet, but he sped through them. On the way back, he lost control, swerved into another lane, and smashed into an oncoming car. The crash was awful. Razzle, sitting next to Vince, was badly hurt and died at the hospital. The two people in the other car got seriously injured and had long-term problems. Vince had only small injuries, but what happened next changed everything. Police found out he was way over the legal drinking limit. He got arrested for causing the crash and driving drunk. The rock world was shaken, fans were stunned, other musicians were shocked, and the news went wild. Rock stars often acted crazy without big consequences, but this time, someone died, and others were hurt for life. The court case moved fast. Prosecutors said Vince caused a high-speed crash that killed Razzle and injured others. Vince said he was guilty to avoid a bigger trial. The judge gave him 30 days in jail, but he got out in less than half that time because of early release rules. He also had to pay about $2.5 million to the victims, do community service, and get counseling for drinking. Some people thought he got off easy because he was famous. They argued someone died, and he barely spent time in jail. The victims' families accepted the court's decision, but people kept talking about whether it was fair. When Vince came back to the public, he tried to own up to it, but couldn't fully change his ways. The crash came up in every interview, documentary, and story about Motley Crue. Even as the band kept making music and touring, that night stayed with them. His bandmates said it changed how the music world saw wild behavior. Vince later said he felt bad knowing his friend died because of him, but he still got in trouble with alcohol later on, which brought the past back up. People always brought up his short sentence when talking about fame and justice. Today, Vince Neil still makes music and is a big name from the glam metal days. But that December night is a huge part of his story, a tale of fame meeting consequences and one choice changing lives forever. He was the steady beat behind one of the world's biggest rock bands. While the rest of AC/DC grabbed attention with guitars and wild shows, Phil Rudd stayed chill and crucial, drumming from the back. But years after his fame peaked, his quiet image fell apart in a way that surprised even his biggest fans. Phil Rudd was born in 1954 in Melbourne, Australia, and played in local bands before joining AC/DC in the 1970s. He drummed on huge albums like High Voltage, Let There Be Rock, Highway to Hell, and Back in Black. His drumming wasn't showy, but it made the band sound perfect, simple, heavy, and right on time. Unlike other drummers who loved flashy solos, Phil kept it tight, powering huge concerts. Offstage, he was quieter than his bandmates, staying out of the spotlight. Fans thought he was the calm one in a crazy band, but his personal life started to crack. In the early 1980s, band drama and personal issues made him leave AC/DC for a bit. He moved to New Zealand, started businesses, and stayed low-key. He came back to AC/DC in 1994, touring and recording big albums like Rock or Bust. To most, it seemed like he dodged the rock star disasters others faced. That changed in 2014 when New Zealand police raided his house after getting serious reports. They accused him of threatening to kill someone and having illegal drugs. They also said he tried to get someone to hurt another person over a business fight. At first, there were rumors of a murder-for-hire plan, but that charge was dropped because there wasn't enough proof. Still, threatening someone's life was a big deal. Police found drugs like methamphetamine and cannabis at his house. He got charged with threatening to kill and drug possession. The news blew up. Phil Rudd, the quiet AC/DC drummer, was suddenly in headlines like a criminal. Fans couldn't believe it. It was so different from the guy they knew. The investigation Ode Phil was mad about his solo album and thought people were messing with him. Prosecutors said he made clear threats to scare others. His lawyers said he was stressed and didn't mean to hurt anyone, but the court had to take the threats and drugs seriously. In 2015, Phil pleaded guilty. The judge gave him 8 months of house arrest with strict rules and ordered him to get treatment and stay off drugs. He didn't go to prison, but his reputation took a hit. AC/DC replaced him with another drummer for their Rock or Bust tour. The story was huge in Australia, the UK, and the US, showing the contrast between his stage discipline and personal chaos. The court said his threats scared people, even if no one was hurt. Phil later said he was under pressure and messed up with drugs, promising to get his life together. The judge warned that breaking the rules could mean jail. For a guy who stayed out of the news for years, the attention was intense. After his sentence, Phil stayed out of trouble and talked about getting back to music. His legal issues eased, but the public saw him differently, not just as the drummer, but as someone tied to threats and drugs, even without. He wasn't a typical musician. Sid Vicious was more like a symbol of wild, messy punk energy. As the bassist for the Sex Pistols, he wasn't just playing music, he was the reckless spirit of punk in the late 1970s. But behind his snarling image was a dark spiral that ended in one of rock's most infamous stories. Sid, born John Simon Ritchie in London in 1957, grew up in a tough home with a mom who struggled with addiction. As a teen, he hung out in London's punk scene and became buddies with Johnny Rotten before joining the Sex Pistols. He got the gig not because he was a great musician, but because he had the perfect punk attitude and look. The band blew up, causing chaos with wild shows, angry crowds, and headlines everywhere. Sid became the face of punk rebellion, famous even to people who never heard their music. In 1977, he met Nancy Spungen, an American deep in the music scene. They clicked instantly, but their relationship was intense and messy, fueled by drugs and fights. Friends said they were always arguing but couldn't stay apart. As their drug use got worse, Sid started missing practices, getting into fights, and struggling to play. The Sex Pistols' last U.S. tour in 1978 fell apart, and the band broke up soon after. Sid and Nancy moved into New York's Chelsea Hotel, a grungy spot for artists and drifters. By October 1978, they were living on heroin and barely left their room. On October 12th, people heard yelling from their room, number 100. That morning, Nancy was found dead on the bathroom floor with a stab wound. She was only 20. Sid was wandering the halls confused and high when police arrested him for second-degree murder. He gave mixed-up stories, sometimes saying he didn't do it, other times saying he might have but couldn't remember. There were no signs of a break-in, and the room had drug stuff everywhere. Since both were super high, no one could figure out exactly what happened. Some friends said others might have been in the room, but no other suspect was confirmed. Sid got out on bail while waiting for a trial. His lawyers said the case wasn't clear. No witnesses, no clear weapon, and his drugged state messed up the timeline. While waiting, he tried to keep performing, giving wild interviews and small shows, but his addiction didn't stop. Weeks later, he got arrested again for attacking a singer, Paddy Paladin, with a broken bottle at a club, landing him in Rikers Island for almost 2 months. By early 1979, he was out on bail again, staying in New York with his mom and friends. On February 2nd, he died of a heroin overdose at 21. Some said his mom gave him the drugs, and others thought he tried to quit but took too much. He died before his trial, so Nancy's death was never solved in court. People still argue about it. Some say it was a tragic accident during a drugged-up fight. Others think someone else was involved. No one was ever convicted. Sid's story became a warning about punk's dangerous side. He went from a punk icon to a symbol of self-destruction. Books, movies, and documentaries keep telling his story, even people who don't know punk know his name because of Nancy's death. Some defend him, saying he was caught in addiction and bad circumstances, while others think he was responsible but never faced justice. Unlike Vince or Phil, Sid never went to trial or got a verdict. His death left the case a mystery. He was a sparkly glam rock star, known for big boots, wild outfits, and songs that packed stadiums. Gary Glitter, born Paul Francis Gadd in 1944, was a huge name in the UK and beyond in the 1970s. His music played at sports games, on TV, and in clubs everywhere. But behind the glitz, he hid a dark side that ruined his legacy and put him in prison more than once. Gary became famous with hits like Rock and Roll, Part 2, and I'm the Leader of the Gang, a key figure in glam rock. His loud costumes, big voice, and bold stage moves made him larger than life. For a while, he was one of Britain's top stars, touring into the 1980s and appearing on TV specials, living off his early fame. Nobody guessed his offstage life would overshadow everything. In 1997, his image crashed when a computer he took to a repair shop in England had illegal sexual material involving kids. Police investigated and arrested him. In 1999, he was found guilty in the UK for having that material and served a short prison sentence. Some thought it was a one-time mistake he could recover from, but it was just the start. After getting out, Gary left the UK and moved around Southeast Asia, living in places like Cambodia and Vietnam. People got suspicious, and police in those countries watched him. In 2005, Vietnamese police arrested him after accusations involving young girls. He was convicted, served almost 3 years in prison, and got deported back to the UK in 2008. By then, his name meant shame, not music. People thought that was the end of his troubles, but it wasn't. In 2012, a big UK INV investigation called Operation Yewtree looked into old abuse cases, and police questioned Gary again. Several people said he hurt them in the 1970s and 1980s when he was super famous. In 2015, he went to trial in London for crimes against girls who were kids at the time. Prosecutors showed proof and stories of how he used his fame to take advantage of people. He was found guilty and got 16 years in prison. The judge said his fame gave him power to hurt vulnerable people. The news went global, and the music world cut ties with him. Radio stations stopped playing his songs, sports venues dropped his music, and TV shows with him were edited or pulled. Even years after his last hit, his songs had still been used in the US, but after the convictions, everyone wanted nothing to do with him. His career was gone. In 2023, he got out of prison early, but was sent back soon after for breaking rules set after his sentence. Police said they were watching him closely, and any mistake would mean quick action. His case shows how bad behavior can hide for years but still catch up even after fame fades. Gary Glitter went from sold-out shows to prison cells across countries. Unlike others with one-time charges, he got convicted multiple times in different places. His name is now a warning about how fame can hide abuse and the need for accountability. He was the face of a band that filled arenas and topped charts worldwide. Ian Watkins, lead singer of Lost Prophets, built his career on slick music, catchy rock songs, and a huge fan base. To most, he was a charming performer with big success and a clean image. But in 2012, his arrest revealed something so shocking it broke his fans, ended his band, and made the music world question how well it knows its stars. Ian was born in Wales in 1977 and started Lost Prophets in the late 1990s. The band hit it big in the early 2000s with albums like The Fake Sound of Progress and Start Something. They got huge in the UK, Australia, and North America. Ian was known for his stage energy and switching between heavy screams and smooth singing. As the band got bigger, they played global tours, big festivals, and built a loyal following. He seemed polished and media-friendly, not the type to stir up trouble. Offstage, he kept his personal life private. There were whispers of drug use or odd behavior, but nothing major. The band kept touring and making music for over a decade with hit songs and awards. That all fell apart in December 2012 when police arrested him after investigating illegal content and crimes. 2 women were also arrested in the case. Police found digital evidence and built a strong case against him. The charges were serious, and as more details came out, people were horrified. The news got huge attention, and fans turned against him fast. Ian first denied everything, and his lawyers tried to fight the evidence. But investigators kept finding more proof, messages, recordings, and witness stories. In November 2013, a year after his arrest, he admitted guilt to many charges. Prosecutors said his actions were planned and worse than anyone imagined. The courtroom heard details that shocked even experienced lawyers. In December 2013, Ian got 35 years in prison, plus extra time under strict rules after release. The women arrested with him got sentences too. The judge said his crimes betrayed trust and used his fame to get close to people. The news spread worldwide, and the fallout was huge. Lost Prophets' other members cut all ties, broke up the band, and said they were horrified and angry. Fans were grossed out, and the band's music was pulled from some streaming sites. Venues and labels dropped the band's name, and old collaborators spoke out against him. Ian's still in prison, and any talk of appeals or parole brings back public anger. His name is now tied to some of the worst headlines in music history. His bandmates started a new project, making it clear Lost Prophets was done the day he was arrested. The case made people wonder how fame can hide dark secrets and how someone can seem trustworthy while doing awful things. Unlike others charged with violence, Ian's actions erased his career and fan support completely. His downfall is one of the biggest collapses of a music star ever. In the early 1990s, Norway's wild black metal scene gave us one of its most infamous names. Varg Vikernes, born Christian Vikernes, wasn't just known for his band Burzum or his short time with Mayhem. He became famous for a killing that rocked the music world and for burning down churches in Norway. Varg grew up in Bergen and jumped into black metal as a teen. The scene was raw, angry, and against the mainstream. Bands like Mayhem got noticed not just for music, but for stirring up trouble. Varg started Burzum alone, playing all the instruments. His music got attention underground, but his actions soon took over the story. He hung out with Mayhem's inner circle, who had extreme anti-mainstream views and loved pushing boundaries. Some took those ideas way too far. By 1992, old churches in Norway started burning down. At first, police didn't know who did it, but rumors pointed to the black metal scene. Varg got arrested and convicted for burning several churches, including one nearly 900 years old. The fires got worldwide attention and made people think the music scene was turning violent. But that was just the start. Things got worse between Varg and Øystein Euronymous Arseth, Mayhem's guitarist and a big name in the scene. Some called it a power struggle, others said it was about money or beliefs. On August 10, 1993, Varg went from Bergen to Oslo to Euronymous' apartment. What happened turned the music scene into a crime scene. Police found Euronymous dead from multiple stab wounds. They caught Varg fast. He said it was self-defense, claiming Euronymous was going to hurt him. Prosecutors said it was planned. The court didn't buy his story and convicted him of murder, plus the church burnings and having explosives. In May 1994, he got Norway's max sentence, 21 years in prison. The case went global, shocking fans and making headlines. The Mediasurats called the black metal scene a dangerous cult, with Varg as the main face. Even in prison, he stayed controversial, giving interviews and writing about his extreme views, which upset more people. Some fans called him a rebel hero. Others saw him as just a murderer. Norway's laws let him get parole after 16 years in 2009. He moved to France and started writing and posting online. He sometimes released music as Burzum, but his crimes overshadowed it. Most platforms and venues stayed away from him. His case stands out because it mixed extreme beliefs with a personal killing. Unlike others with drug or non-violent charges, Varg's actions changed how people saw black metal. His name still sparks fights among fans. Some can't separate his music from his crimes, while others debate his impact on the scene. The early 1990s remain a wild, dark chapter where music, beliefs, and violence crash together. He was the lead singer of a big metal band, known for intense shows and lyrics mixing aggression with personal struggles. Tim Lambesis, frontman of As I Lay Dying, was seen as a focused musician with a loyal fan base. His band toured the world, made hit albums, and earned respect in the heavy music scene. But in 2013, he made headlines for something unthinkable, and it wasn't about music. Tim was born in California in 1980 and started As I Lay Dying in the early 2000s. The band blew up fast, becoming a top name in metalcore with albums like Shadows Are Security and An Ocean Between Us. They got big in Europe, North America, and Australia, playing packed venues and festivals. They even got Grammy nominations. Tim stood out for his singing and stage energy, plus a clean image tied to fitness and what seemed like strong values. He came off as serious and in control, which made what happened next feel unreal. By 2012, his marriage was falling apart. He and his wife had adopted kids, and their divorce got messy. Tim started pulling away from his old beliefs, feeling lost and angry over custody and money fights. Behind the scenes, his frustration grew dangerous. In early 2013, he told someone at a gym he wanted his estranged wife hurt. That person told the police, who set up a sting. An undercover cop, pretending to be a hitman, met Tim and recorded him giving instructions, talking about timing and offering payment. The conversation showed he was serious. On May 7, 2013, police arrested him in a California store. The news exploded. Metal singer and murder-for-hire plot was everywhere. Fans and bandmates were floored. As I Lay Dying canceled shows and the band was in shock. In court, prosecutors played the recordings and shared testimony. Tim first said he wasn't guilty, claiming emotional stress and steroids messed with his head. But the evidence was strong. In February 2nd, 2014, he pleaded guilty to trying to hire someone to kill his wife. The court gave him 6 years in prison. His wife spoke in court, saying how scared she was knowing someone she trusted planned to kill her. The judge said planning violence was serious, even if it didn't happen. The band broke up soon after, with members starting new projects and cutting ties with Tim. Fans who saw him as a good guy struggled to understand. While in prison, he worked on counseling and thinking about his actions. In late 2016, after about 3 years, he got out on parole with strict rules. He apologized publicly, saying he knew he messed up big time. In 2018, As I Lay Dying got back together with Tim singing, which stirred up drama. Some fans refused to support him, while others were okay with it if he showed he was sorry. The band made new music and played shows, but his crime never left the story. His case shows how anger and personal struggles can lead to terrible choices, even for someone who seemed so together. Tim wasn't caught in a moment of rage. He planned something awful, and only police stopped it. His story is a reminder that fame doesn't mean someone's stable.